Good evening. Today, we will be discussing decisions. Since the beginning of time, man has had to make many decisions on a lot of different things and a lot of different situations, for that matter. Now, those things could be for his own welfare and well-being, or for the welfare and well-being of others. But in the older days, it just seemed like his decisions were rooted firmly in his word. Meaning, if a man said he was going to do something, he did it. It seems, however, that in today's world, we don't really see that as much. You know, in this world driven by social media likes, popularity, and fame, it seems that a lot of times that man has abandoned his word and the power that is associated with it. Even his morals are now subjected in his personal decision-making process and can be compromised by the longing for wealth, subjective truth, personal gain, and pleasure. So today, I like to talk about the true power of firm decisions right here and right now on The Awakening.
Hey man, the Charlie Daniels band back in the 80s, they made this jam about the devil coming down to Georgia. When it came down to Texas too, check it. The devil came down to Texas. He was looking for a
Good evening. I'm Kevin Shaw. And I'm Keith Robinson.
This is The Awakening. So this is our inaugural show for The Awakening, and we wanted to do something very special. But before we get into that, which you already heard in the monologue, I want to say a special welcome to my partner, VP of the Marvel Night Network, Keith Robinson. Glad to have you on the show with me, brother.
Glad to be here, my G.
All right. So we're going to be talking about making decisions and why we make the decisions that we make. So I'm going to start with you first, Keith. Tell us why you make decisions or how you go about the process of making good decisions.
Well, it first starts off with a spiritual basis. And that is, we inherently were given free will. Now, free will is the basis of all decision making because you have free will to make whatever choice you want to make. A good example of that is you can choose your sin, but you can't choose your consequences. Now, I said that to say, when I try to make a decision, I first consider and acknowledge whatever the subject is that I'm trying to make a decision on. And then I want to make sure I really think about the repercussions and the ramifications of the decision I make. So I try to be objective because I want to make an objective decision. That means, considering the outcome, considering all of the circumstances. So I consider all of that, and then I go to the Father and I say, here's my issue. Order my steps so that I can make the right decision.
And I'm going to tell you, that's a tremendous amount of wisdom in that. But for the younger audience that may have not experienced the things to where you can make those kind of wise choices, we're going to give you a basis that you can look at to make choices. First of all, it's going to start with experience. So there's two ways of getting this. Knowledge, which is experience, or wisdom by listening to someone that may be older than you, maybe an older relative or someone of that nature that's already experienced it, right? So they tell you about how to go about these things and you just duplicate what they did. But there's other aspects to that as well. Your upbringing, right? Maybe it's not a home that has a good moral foundation. Incarceration, things of that nature that takes away your decision-making power. But before we get to that, we need to understand what does it take to make good decisions. So first, let's start off with thinking. So when I say thinking, right, which is basically what you were saying with the wisdom piece of how you will follow these pathways to think about what the ramifications of your decisions are.
what would you say to a young man or young woman that really doesn't know how to formulate their mind to think in that way?
Well, the first thing is to let them know, I haven't done tomorrow yet either. So I'm saying that to say there's a formula that has to be applied. And again, I'll reiterate, I gave you a little bit of the formula in the beginning. The formula is understanding what's going on. And you said something that was very, very pertinent. You may not have the knowledge or the wisdom, but the wisest people go seek that from the people that do. Those are what the wisest people do. So you get your counsel, and that's very important because you want to make sure you're going to someone that will give you solid counsel.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is you have people that'll say, oh man, well, I would do this and I would do that. No, they wouldn't. But you hear someone hears that, and then they go apply that, and then they get all the negative repercussions and ramifications of this bad counsel. So again, seek solid counsel.
Absolutely.
That is key in anything you do. Solid counsel, let's break it down in the layman terms. You go and talk to someone that has your best interest at heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to share with you a part of my life and why the decisions that I have made were chosen. I grew up as a very introverted child, an only child. So I was very good at listening, right? And with listening, there can be a lot of wisdom gained. All of us know people who do a lot of talking.
Yes, sir.
And very little listening. And we kind of sum those people up as people who make kind of rash decisions because they don't think enough or listen enough to get the information that will help them think on how to solve the problem correctly or to make the right decision. So growing up the way I did caused me to listen. Now, I couldn't stay introverted forever, especially in the line of work that we do.
Right.
Right. So the basis of this is like, now I want to give the information to help out those that need it and could use it. So when I look back over my life, I understand that my experiences may not be the same as yours, but if you listen to what I'm saying and take some of the wisdom that I'm saying, the first thing I would tell a young person to do is start listening.
And listening. Let's talk about that for a second. You have these two things to listen with. But what my man was just alluding to is a lot of people listen with this. And you can't. Close this so you can receive what's being given to you here.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot talk and listen at the same time. I'm sure there's somebody that can, but if they're there, they're very gifted and they're very blessed. But the average layman needs to close this and open these. See, now, so once you receive whatever instruction it is, now you still have to put your own interpretation of what's been given to you. Because I can give you a whole situation of the decision I made in my situation. So what I'm trying to give you is the logic. See, there's thinking, and like he alluded to my show, Digging Deep. Digging Deep is just a phrase for critical thinking. See, you get what you need to think about, but then you have to dig deeper into it. And that's where we go back to where we're saying, you're considering repercussions, ramifications. And if I do this, what's going to happen? If I do this, what's going to happen? If I don't do this, what won't happen? So again, it's all about what are you trying to accomplish? You have to consider who's going to be hurt. You have to consider, are you going to be hurt? You have to consider with the decision that you make, will you be able to live with it?
Yes, that's definitely true. And speaking of repercussions, there's definitely repercussions for your decisions as well. And not all repercussions are good. There's a lot of horrible repercussions, right? One thing I alluded to earlier was incarceration. So, you may be doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you weigh the odds, think the odds are in your favor. You make the decision was a bad one, and now you get in trouble, and here comes the repercussions, right?
Right.
There's a lot of people in prison to this day because of bad choices and bad decisions. Now, when we're speaking about the bad choices that you make, why do we make bad choices over good choices? My partner would always say, I'm glad you asked.
So, speaking of crime,
Yeah.
you just made me think of something. They're in a bad situation. They know the situation. They're going to make decisions. The decisions are already kind of stymied because there's only so many decisions that you can make. So they know they're in a bad situation. So what do people in crime say? You can't do the time? Don't do the crime. See, those are decisions already made. You've already decided, I'm going to do this because I know my ramification and my repercussion, but I'm going to take this penitentiary chance anyway. That was nothing but a whole line of decisions, knowing the possible repercussions.
Absolutely. And those repercussions not only affect you, but those that are around you as well.
Exactly. Family,
Right.
friends, peers that you'll be locked up with.
Right.
What's one of the first things they say when you go and get locked up? They say, what you in for?
Absolutely.
And what that really means is what you decide to do. Decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we're looking at young people, right, we know that not all households are perfect. We know that there are a lot of single parent homes and a lot of people that grow up in that way. I was one of those people as well, right? So let's talk about a little bit the roles that the parents play and how the child decides to make decisions, right? For me, only having one child, that was the only, one parent, I should say, excuse me, that's the only thing I had as to look up to, right? To set a foundation of what my decision-making process, even my morals, would allude to in my life. My mother did, I would say, a excellent job, a terrific job in raising me. Could it have been better? Of course. We all know, statistically speaking, that multiple parents in the household makes for better children and how they raise and get educated. And normally their social well-being and their social status in the world. So it could have definitely been better, but it was what I needed. And she set such a great example for me that it allowed me to achieve the things that I've been able to achieve in life. So when you think about the parent's role in the child's decision-making process, what do you think about when you think of that?
Well, I'll play the parent. Hey, son, this is what you're going to do. Here's your plan of action. You're going to go to school. You're going to finish school. You're going to go to college. You're going to get your degree. And then you're going to go and get your vocation with your family for the rest of your life. I'm setting a plan for him to takes away some of his decision making because he's not in a place to where he can make those kind of decisions in his future. So I set his expectation. So now, as that expectation's been set, I watch him and I see if he's walking toward the objective and the goal. And I'm saying that to say, when I'm watching him and he's not moving toward the goal we've set, I say, hey, son, I don't think that was a good decision. The decision you just made is going to hinder you from accomplishing your goal, the goal being the repercussion. So we make it simple. You have your goal. Make the decisions that will get you to your goal, not to take you away from your goal. And that's just in applicable terms.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that we chose this topic for today on our first ever showing of The Awakening. But we have something else in store for you. So we're going to pause right now and we're going to give you a taste of our Artist of the Month.
The Marvin Network proudly presents Blaze singing his debut song, Moonlight.
I could never seem to do right. So sorry I dropped out, but I really never was a school type. When niggas popped out shit, I try to give them the cool type. They want a motherfucking fool, right? Mama, please tonight. Pray that your son find a new life. Cause I can never seem to do it right. See, they got me fucked up, I'm a renegade, but the smooth type. Yeah, you might be crazy gone if you think I'm fit for a new life. Baby, I know how to move like I should clutching on the too tight. Bringing underneath the moonlight. I remember days that wasn't that well.
And all the things we did for the come up.
Never forget the way the crack sell.
Nigga, I done seen the fiends on the hunt for.
Never forget the way the crack smell.
Seen family do the worst for
I could taste it when I exhale. This shit was everywhere.
I was a young
Heavy stepping on shit, ain't no walking light. Looked in my chest for a heart, found a block of ice. Through eyes of God, I ain't walking right. I ain't turning to the type of man that my mama like. Don't need to know what a son is like. I see death around the corner, hope he don't come tonight. All I can ask of my mama is pray for your son tonight. Because shit is real. So you can find me in the field. Equipped with a weapon, can't give haters leverage. I see niggas dying in the field. So I stay away from busters, cause most of these others acting like they trying to get killed. Play with me and I'm busting, ain't going for nothing. It's nothing to slide to where you live. And I don't wanna do it, but Lord, I will. I can never seem to do right. So sorry I dropped out, but I really never was a school type. When niggas popped out shit, I try to give them the cool type. They want a motherfucking fool, right? Mama, please tonight. Pray that your son find a new life. Cause I can never seem to do it right. See, they got me fucked up, I'm a renegade, but the smooth type. Yeah, you might be crazy gone if you think I'm fit for a new life. Baby, I know how to move like I should clutching on the too tight. Bringing underneath the moonlight. So I stick to myself. Help niggas put you through hell. Snakes in your business, you'll fail. End up in jail. Fuck around with some niggas that's frail. Oh, hating ass niggas gon' tell. Stuck in a cell. Praying somebody gon' help. Now you gotta do for yourself. Fuck them, stay true to yourself. What the OG told me before we die farewell. How can I do right when no one believe in me? Everyone's leaving me. Next will be you, right? Oh, I keep a heat with me, won't but I easily run up and you will die. Cause when you come from nothing with nothing to nothing, there's nothing to lose, right? You know you're fucking with a fool, right? So you can find me in the field. Strap for protection, it ain't no more helping. I'm selfish, fuck trying to keep it real. Niggas don't mean you no good. See all these motherfuckers grimy where I live. Gotta pray for my brother stuck up in the jungle. We out here, we riding till the wheels fall off. I don't think that they ever never seen to do right. So sorry I dropped out, but I really never was a school type. When niggas popped out shit, I try to give them the cool type. They want a motherfucking fool, right? Mama, please tonight. Pray that your son find a new life. Cause I can never seem to do it right. See, they got me fucked up, I'm a renegade, but the smooth type. Yeah, you might be crazy gone if you think I'm fit for a new life. Baby, I know how to move like I should clutching on the too tight. Bringing underneath the moonlight.
Welcome back. Welcome back. That was
That was good, right?
that was a great performance.
Yes.
Blaze.
Blaze, y'all better remember that name.
Y'all remember that name. That was just a
Moonlight.
showcase, yes, for the moonlight.
Yes.
Speaking of moonlight, sometimes when I know I need to make a tough decision, I'll get by myself and I'll go outside and I'll watch them stars and I'll look at that moonlight because it empowers me and it lets me know there's something greater than me. So I tune into that and I say, help me with this decision that I have to make. What's something that you may do when you know you need to make a very pertinent and important decision that's going to have major ramifications on everything that's around you? How do you kind of go about doing that?
Well, the first thing, as you said, is always going to be with prayer. I'm gonna seek the answers that I'm asking, right? As a good book says, you ask, right? You knock, right? And you seek. So I'm going to do those things. But in the wisdom that he gives, one thing that I always try to do is think about the total path of start. I would go down the path and connect the different chains as I come through crossroads, right? Okay. So it's not only that I'm making what some would say a linear decision, but that linear decision may branch off into other avenues, right?
Yes.
And so I'd make another decision inside that decision,
yes.
right? So when I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it like this, and I've decided that's what it's going to be. And speaking of that, the real big reason that we want to make sure that we're bringing this to you, talking about decisions, is like I alluded to in a monologue, is that when you make a decision, stick with your decision.
Stand on it.
Stand on your decision. See it through. Because we get plenty of people that make decisions or make a choice, I call it at that moment, to do something and never follow it through. Or they get all the way up to the horizon of it and they quit, not knowing that just over that hillside
Was the
is the
manifestation.
answer and
Yes.
everything that they needed.
Yes,
So
yes.
we hope and we pray that you guys understand where we're coming from when it comes to making decisions. For you young folks out there, this is really for you to hone in on, to understand that you do have the power and the will and desire, should you choose it, to make good, proper decisions. We look forward to giving you more and more content right here on this station on the Marvel Night Network, welcoming you all to The Awakening.
Awakening.